It's Saturday, May 21st, 2022. I'm TC Kirkham, and this is the Kirkham Report. Hello, vinyl community and everyone else out there. I'm TC Kirkham, the Kirkham Report. This week has been kind of relaxed after the last few weeks of Eurovision and American Song Contest stuff, but I'm not done with it. I got a little bit more to talk about. But in any case, there's a lot going on. I have a very full show this week, and so let's get things started, shall we? You've probably heard it all over the internet over the last 2 or 3 days. Universal Music Group has sort of quasi-announced a massive price increase across the board for all the labels that they're involved with. Now, Universal controls about 60% of the major labels in the world, not just here, but overseas as well. Capitol, EMI, Blue Note, Interscope, Island, Def Jam are all part of the Universal Music Group and everything underneath them. And they are now saying that they're going to be raising rates so that albums that you could normally get for, say, $25 are going to be between $35 and $40. A lot of naysayers out there, a lot of people complaining about this price hike and how it's going to hurt the vinyl industry. I'm not so sure about that. The vinyl industry has weathered other big storms and other major price increases before. Right now, there is a global shortage of vinyl because of what's going on in Europe, specifically Russia's war against the Ukraine. And a lot of plants are backed up because there is a shortage of oil, which is, of course, the main ingredient. Vinyl is a byproduct of petroleum products. I do think that the price increase is probably here to stay. There's no way to get rid of it. But one thing we will see is less people buying records. Now, whether or not this hurts anybody, it is entirely up to the places that carry it. The big box marts, Target, Walmart, Amazon, and so on and so forth, ordered a ton of Adele and Taylor Swift albums late last year. They were the two artists who were flooding most of the production plants in the world, and a lot of those albums are sitting on the shelves. Frank Landry over at Channel 33 RPM.com this week spotlighted the fact that at a random Target in the US, they had 50 or more copies of Adele and a good 15 to 20 copies of the various Taylor Swift albums just sitting there. So did they overestimate demand? Yeah, in a big way. But even worse, the big box marts overestimated it in a big way. They bought way too many. The mom and pops didn't buy so many, and they've probably done okay as far as their sales go on those two artists. And they never overbuy anyway. They may want to buy a lot of individual titles they know are going to sell. But the nice thing about mom and pop record stores is that they know their clientele. Most of them are regulars. Most of them well known to the people who work there. And most of them have quite a few favorite artists, and they're going to watch for it. For me, when I was shopping in stores, I do most of it online through indie stores now. That people who knew me knew I was going to head to Hanson or Def Leppard or, the carpenters, depending on what I was looking for. They knew me. They knew my taste. They knew what I was looking for. So mom and pops are not going to be hurt as much by this because they'll simply order fewer copies, just enough to cover their base. The larger retailers do not have that advantage. They are being pushed to order hundreds of thousands of copies at once and distribute them throughout their stores. And I mean, I'm sorry, but when the pictures that Frank showed on his channel came up of the Adele, I was horrified. There were 3 or 4 of them in front. The rest of them were stacked up 50 high or so on the shelf. Stacked. Not up, stacked. We know that leads to warping, and that can be a problem. Is it going to be a permanent price increase? Probably. But I think that even the big box marts will pull back on the amount they're going to buy because record labels no longer allow returns. We won't be going back to the 1970s where an album shipped gold and returned platinum, as they used to say, on albums that they would, force down everybody's throat. I remember that happening specifically with the soundtracks from Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band and Thank God It's Friday, both of which had outrageously high price points from 1978. One of them was $14.99, the other $17.99 for albums, and that was outrageous at the time when albums on the average were running $6 to $8.99. But it was, they all ended up going back, and when I picked my copies up of those, they were $2 a piece in the cutout bin less than 2 years later. We aren't going to have that now. Retailers are going to have to use it as a loss leader and eventually going to have to make their own cutout bins if they continue to buy that many titles. So I have a feeling we're going to see the big box marts cut way back on the number of vinyl albums they're buying, even though many of them are just getting back into vinyl. And they're finding it to be a pretty big seller, a brisk seller. I know Target is. I know Barnes & Noble is. It is an interesting thing that Universal, when they made record profits last year on both LPs and CDs, that they are increasing the price. But as it was once said, demand usually means increases because it means the suppliers can publish more or make more available and make more money. We'll have to wait and see. I think that right now it's too soon. We need to wait a couple of weeks and see how things shake down. And I have already said, as I did with the Adele a few months ago, if the vinyl is too high, I'll pick up the CD. The CDs are not as expensive. Or I will download it. I'm not one of the people in the vinyl community who absolutely eschews digital files. I don't mind them. In fact, I have more digital than anything else because that's all I've done for the past 20 years until I joined the vinyl community in 2020. So it boggles the mind as to why Universal would do this kind of a price increase. A small increase to cover and offset the cost of making them, that would be understandable. And we've seen that every year. But the price of records continue to go up and up. And as long as the consumer tolerates it, it's going to continue to happen. The only way to battle back against it is to buy locally and urge box marts not to buy so many. Because, number one, not only clogs up the pressing plants for some of the stuff that people who go to indie stores really want in the first place, but it also means they're going to get stuck with product they won't be able to move. And that's not a good thing either, especially in this day and age. Let's keep a level head and hope that it will continue to level off and Universal will maybe come to somewhat of a compromise at some point. It's probably not going to happen. The greed of the recording industry is well known in the world, but we'll find out sooner or later. And that's the cover story this week. I have a lot of stuff and out of the box this week. I'm going to start off with some of the smaller stuff that I picked up in the last couple of weeks. I forgot to mention this last week, but I actually picked this up a couple weeks ago. Um, I get my weekly newsletter from Bandcamp every Saturday, and a couple of Saturdays ago, 2 or 3 Saturdays ago, I found this from keyboardist extraordinaire Michael Whalen. It is called Imaginary Trains, and oh my god, this album is awesome. If you are into synthesizers, if you like Kraftwerk, if you like Tangerine Dream, you are going to love this guy. He is awesome. Waylon has been recording this kind of stuff for years. I actually have some of his tracks on digital. But this is the first one I bought on CD, and I bought it because it was fairly inexpensive, and because I listened to it on Bandcamp and was utterly blown away. I love the label they have for this. Let me just kind of do this so you can see the whole thing. And he's got quite a bit of stuff out there if you know him. He's done some film work too. Little autographed thanks there on the cover. Michael loved this album, and I really hope this sells really well for you because it is absolutely awesome. Another thing I picked up recently is on Obscuria this past week. I featured a band, Monday I believe it was. I featured a 1970 hit called My Baby Loves Lovin' by the band White Plains, and I told a little story about how many people for years thought Tony Burrows did the lead on My Baby Loves Lovin'. Tony Burrows, of course, the infamous session singer who sang lead for like 8 or 9 different major British bands between 1968 and 1975 or so. It turns out he did do backups, but not leads. And I got to thinking, you know, I've been wanting... I have a copy of the White Plains debut album, My Baby Loves Lovin', but it's never played right. I got it when I was 6 years old, and it is always skipped on the title track, which I loved. Could never play it on there. But I love the rest of the album, too, and so I decided to check it out on Wikipedia, and they said that they'd released an anthology of both of their albums and a bunch of rarities on a CD. White Plains, the collection, features this album, this album here, which in this country is known as My Baby Loves Lovin'. In some countries it's just called White Plains. Always did have one of the worst album covers ever. And the second album, which I have not heard, and I can't read right here, When You Are a King. That White Plains album, what I could play, I fell in love with it. Summer Morning, In a Moment of Madness, which they had actually recorded as a different band before that. So I am really looking forward to getting this. I picked this up from importcds.com. That's where I found it. And it was absolutely fantastic. It got here in less than a week. And really, I can't wait to hear this because I know I know their first album is excellent. I'm pretty sure their second album, which includes Julie, Do You Love Me, which I think is a cover. I'm not sure who had the original hit with that. I know they had a hit with it in England, Bobby Sherman here in the States. It may be like Paper Lace, which did Billy Don't Be a Hero originally in the UK, and then saw their the song yanked out from underneath them by Bo Donaldson and the Haywoods. So I don't know, but I can't wait to listen to this. This is going to be fun. About a month ago, I also picked up something which actually I didn't pick it up. It came for free. I support a number of different things on Patreon. I support various YouTube channels, a couple of artists, and people who I really want to help see continue to do great stuff. And one of them is recording star Sawyer Fredericks. Sawyer Fredericks, of course, won, I think it was season 8 of The Voice when he was just 16. He's now 24. It's been quite a ways back. And when I joined at the level I joined at, I got a freebie package. I forgot all about it because I joined at the beginning of April, and it didn't show up until like 2 weeks ago. But my gosh, for the little bit that I pay every month for him, I got to show you this stuff. It's amazing. For one thing, everything he sends has a personalized sticker on it. And they have different little things in here. This little bag is filled with little very similar stickers, as I will show you, of his album covers. This is the one he made when he was, I think, 15, before his voice changed out my window. A Good Storm came out when he was, this was the album that he got off of The Voice. And the two since then, Hide Your Ghost, which features, I mean, just incredible music, and his most recent album, Flowers for You. All of these are vinyl stickers, so these cost him a pretty penny to get made. And they're very, very cool. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Also, there's a coaster. I'm not going to take it out of the wrapping. The Flowers for You album. Another package of a keychain with another sticker on it yet. There. A Patreon patron bag that's been autographed. A Patreon lanyard. This I can wear to see him live anytime and get priority attention and priority for meet and greets and a whole bunch of stuff. The album, the third album, Flowers for You, which, if you have not heard this album, you have not been listening to music the last couple of years. It is freaking amazing. And a package, another envelope here, of photographs and such. A thank you card, also personally signed as a patron. A New Year's card from 2020, and another one from 2020, February 2020. All of these are autographed. Sawyer, I'm a big fan, and I love this stuff that I got. I totally forgot I was getting. I mean, it was one of the reasons I did join at that level, because I'm such a huge fan, and I want to see you in concert so bad. You keep coming when I can't get there. But it's just, I think he is just one of the most important artists of his generation. If you have not seen him or you've not heard him since The Voice, which was quite a while ago, Flowers for You, I mean, everything on that album is good, but I'm particularly fond of Lies You Tell, which has a Johnny Lang vibe about it in my view. I don't know, he may not agree with that, but he sees himself as more folk, when I see him more as a bluesy folk blues guy. But I love his stuff, and Sawyer, thank you for this awesome welcome package, and everybody should hook up with Sawyer Fredericks at, I think it's the $10, might be the $25 level a month, but man, it's a great thing. Now, got to move away and grab a few other things. Remember at the top of the show when I said I wasn't quite done with Eurovision? Yeah, here it is. This arrived yesterday from Deutsche Post. I ordered this in March, and I couldn't wait to get it. My official Eurovision hat, which you will see me wearing in the near future, complete with the official Eurovision official merchandise tag. A thank you card from the Eurovision Song Contest. Thank you for shopping at the official Eurovision shop. Packed with love from, I think it's Juhi. And there are stickers on the back of the card that you can peel off. And the big thing in here. The first time, I think since they started doing these sets, but at least in the last 20 years, that this has been released on vinyl. This is the 2022 Eurovision Song Contest album. It features all 40 artists, including the winners, the Ukraine's Kalush Orchestra and Stefania. It includes all of the stuff that didn't make it through the semis. It is on 180-gram vinyl. It feels a little bad. I haven't opened it yet. It feels a little, I'm a little worried about this because it feels kind of thing down here. But I am so happy. They did not make a limited edition. They're not making that many of them. And all the other ones I have in the last 5 or 6 years are either CD or downloads. And I'm a huge fan, and I'd love to get every one of them that has come out since I think they started coming out in 2009. And it's such a great thing for me because I am such an unabashed fan of Eurovision. Don't mind the lid. But I'm very happy to get this. And get the lid back in there. And I'll have a little bit more for you in a second. I just noticed the light in here, for some reason, is really playing havoc with my shirt, and I don't know why. I'm probably cursed by Danhausen for wearing it. The latest the latest purchases and a gift from Dawn and Mary at Two Hip Chicks have arrived. I gotta tell you, I went overboard. I have some 45s here. I also have, I'm not going to dig them all out right now, but in these 2 boxes, there are 6 albums by the 101 Strings, who I'm a big fan of. I love beautiful music stuff, and I'll show them probably next time. We'll see. But I did buy some other stuff I don't normally buy. They had a great deal on some vintage Doctor Who monthly issues from the 1980s, all of these. Patrick Troughton, Tom Baker, there, Peter Davison, John Pertwee, William Hartnell, Sylvester McCoy, and Colin Baker. So every single Doctor up to this time was represented. And I don't care what anybody says. I loved Colin Baker. He got the shaft. I mean, I loved everybody else too. But what was more important is Dawn told me that when I opened the albums to do very, very careful. They were in 2 boxes because there was something in between the 2 boxes, a surprise for me. So when this arrived last night, I could see there was a little bit of plastic sticking out. I'm like, okay, I know where it is. I'll be very careful. I'll slide around the boxes and pull the boxes apart and pull out whatever the surprise was to me. And I promptly started screaming. I have not had this in my collection for good 40 years. It came with the original Greatest Hits album in 1973, and Dawn found a copy of it in pristine shape, and knew I was missing it. Apparently I mentioned it on Influencers that I was missing it, and when my eyes just completely lit up, because I think this is the best VCLT I've ever received. This is the booklet from the singles 1969 to 1973 by the Carpenters. It is a 12-page booklet talking about their career, from Digby Deal, who was one of the heads of A&M at the time, the stories and lyrics for each of the 12 hits on there, and another terrible picture of Richard and Karen, which I've shown out of the book I bought. And I wrote to Dawn this morning, and I said, I really, really hope this is not the one from your album. And she said, no, I've been keeping an eye out. And look at this, I got tape stuck on it. I can't believe I did that. I've been looking for a copy, keeping an eye out in my travels since I found out you lost yours. And I did, and I am so happy. Dawn, thank you so much for thinking of me. I never, ever guessed that was what the surprise was. And I'm so overjoyed to be able to add this back to my collection again. So thank you. Now, let's get on to the 45s from them. And this time it's a very eclectic lot. Just one, just a lot of 20 plus a couple of bonuses. And I have some of these, I don't have some of these. And some of them are real gems that I'm happy to add to my collection. There's, let's see, start with the main ones. Roses for Mama from C.W. McCall, backed with something called Columbine. I'm not even going to ask what that is. So that was well before that happened, so I'm assuming it's about the... I think there's a farm thing with that name. I don't know. Andy Williams, Where Do I Begin? And something. This is one of the ones I really wanted. I had this on a single and I gave it to somebody when I bought the album, and now I have it again. Lynn Anderson, Rose Garden. Emmylou Harris and Mr. Sandman. Favorite song by her. Great. That was originally supposed to be the trio, her, Dolly, Linda, but their labels would not allow them to appear on the single, so Emily had to redo the vocals herself. Traveling Wilburys and Handle with Care. There'll Always Be Honky Tonks in Texas and Desperado by Johnny Rodriguez. Columbia Hall of Fame, The Yellow Rose of Texas, and March from the River Kwai from Mitch Miller and his orchestra. How do you sing along with March from the River Kwai? I don't quite connect that well. Original pressing, Mary Lee Rush and Angel of the Morning. Her band, The Turnabouts, also on this. I never liked that Bell label. I always liked the one from the 70s. I thought it was way better. That one's kind of creepy. The New Seekers, Where There's No Love Left and Beautiful People. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, that's right. Okay. I thought it was a different band, but it's not. Somebody obviously wrote on it from WITZ, so it was a radio station copy. Ozark Mountain Jubilee from Oak Ridge Boys. Willie Nelson, My Heroes Have Always Been Cowboys and Rising Star. I don't have this, surprisingly. Hank Williams Jr., Whiskey Bent and Hellbound and OD'd in Denver. Another great classic on that Target label from Glenn Campbell, The Last Time I Saw Her, and Bach Talk, which I'm going to bet is an instrumental. I don't know, but Glenn was an amazing guitar player. The Monkees, D.W. Washburn, and It's Nice to Be With You. Don and Mary didn't remember this, and neither did Johnny when they were talking about it and selling it, but I do. I have the album. It's from A Cowboy's Work Is Never Done and Somebody from Sonny and Cher. And another classic from the late, great Burl Ives, A Little Bitty Tear and Shanghaied. Wrong sleeve, but that's okay, because I don't have that sleeve on anything. Now, there were a few other ones I also picked up as part of that lot. Learn About Reading and Writing from Peter Pan. This is a kid's one about 1968 for preschoolers. I doubt that I'll actually be using that one. Fun with Sound from Wes Harrison. Not available in record stores, as it says right there at the bottom. He was, I guess, the Michael Winslow of his day. I don't know. A mini album from Julius La Rosa, Pajama Party. Features also the Three Sons, Ralph Flanagan, Bob Scobie, Teddy King, and Dennis Farnon. Only Julius LaRosa have I heard of on this. And finally, another Kitty record from Disneyland. So I'm curious as to who does the vocal. Jingle Bells, and From All of Us to All of You. Somebody actually said they thought it was Cliff Edwards that did the vocal, the voice of Jiminy Cricket. I guess we'll find out when I play it. So, more 45s, a great Carpenter surprise, some great magazines, and 6 101 Strings albums from the always awesome Donna Marriott, 2 Hip Chicks. Lots of great stuff, lots of good hauls this week, and that is out of the box for this week. Time to go into this month's Black Box Record Club shipment. I'm going to be honest, it came earlier in the week and I went ahead and opened it, and I'm going to be having some problems with Black Box if we can't get this straightened out. I am really not happy at all with either of the albums that showed up this month. I went in and I did some tweaking to my profile and explained in black and white what I did and did not want, because last month I got Jimi Hendrix, who I have no interest in. Sorry guys, I just don't. This month, I will admit that this one is probably not that bad, but I'm not a big fan of Fun. This was their big album, Some Nights. This is the limited edition silver vinyl on Fueled by Ramen, and it does feature their big hit, We Are Young. I'm just not a big fan of theirs. This one may be better than I think it is, because there's a lot of good acts on it with them. But I'm not a blues person except for certain styles. I like Johnny Lang. I like Kenny Wayne Shepherd. I still, like I said, I consider Sawyer Fredericks a bit bluesy. This is going to be interesting because if I do like it, I will end up buying too much of it. But it has Taj Mahal, Joe Louis Walker, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, Michael Lee, and Kenny Neal as guests with the B.B. King Blues Band, The Soul of the King. This was released in 2019. Some of you may have it and may be able to tell me how it is. I have not listened to it yet. I will be cracking it open this weekend. It is from Germany. It's a DE. I'm interested in this one, mainly because of Kenny Wayne Shepherd's presence, who I love him. I wish I'd gotten to meet him when I worked with Disc Jockey. It wasn't my turn to host the concert he did, but I did get an autograph from him, which was cool, which one of my other DJ friends got me. Black Box Record Club has lyrics from Mrs. Robinson about Joe DiMaggio, which of course it is baseball season now, complete with a baseball logo. So for the second month in a row, I'm not terribly happy with Black Box, and I'm paying $44 a month for this, so I'm very persnickety. So on Tuesday or Wednesday, the day after I got the package, I went in and I tweaked my profile, and I said I don't want anything released before 1970. I don't want anything outside of my own areas, which are pop, light metal, hair bands, and new age, a few other things, and R&B from the 70s. I said I really don't want any other genres. I left my list of groups intact, and they are supposedly curating it. They read what you have in your Discogs and go from there. So if I get something next month that I'm not happy with again, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm sorry. But it's been an interesting year. Most of what I got, they've missed a couple of times, but most of what, I mean, there's been a couple of times I was overjoyed. The Ready Set, the classic Jackson 5, the Al Green. Oh, top-notch stuff. Um, and like I said, I still haven't listened to the other one I got last month. I'm sorry. It is The Dip. I haven't had time to listen to this. This is R&B. I guess you would call it Blue-Eyed Soul, since it looks to me like most of the band are Caucasian. But it is out of Seattle, and it is R&B, and it is well thought of. So I'm sure once I get around to hearing it, I will like that one. But I'm not interested in that Jimi Hendrix. Hendrix is just way too prog for me. I don't like him. I like some of his songs, but overall, I'll never listen to that album. So I will probably get that out, get rid of it, or sell it, or pass it on somewhere for VCLT at some point. But in any case, this is this month's Black Box, and so I've let them know. Hopefully it'll work out, because I have adjusted it before, and they adjusted what I was getting, and that's a good sign, because I do enjoy it. I like the surprise of getting something I don't know what's coming in it, and it's a lot of fun, and I hope that we can continue our mutual relationship. So that is this month's Black Box Record Club. In the back pages this week, a cautionary tale. Back at the beginning of June, Robert Z had his lottery. And I didn't win, unfortunately, but I am one of the people involved who passes prizes on to others. And for our winner this year, I had the letter J. So from Robert, I obtained his Discogs, went into his want list, and found something that I thought would be rather good, that it was on his want list. He'd had it on there for quite a while, and that I thought it would be a great thing. Unfortunately, I did order it back on April 5th, and it never arrived. It was mailed on April 8th, I think it was. I gave it 2 weeks past the 10 days that the seller told me it would take, and I also ordered a couple of albums for myself from Canada that I had loved for a long time. Well, one of them was in a Canadian version of an American artist, and I was excited about it. And we figured 10 days to 2 weeks. When 4 weeks went by, I sent him a note. I said, "Hey, I haven't received it yet. I know the shipments between Canada and the U.S. have been hell since COVID started. I mean, I literally paid more than shipping than I paid for the 3 albums, almost double." And I said, "Send me a tracking number. Send me what information you can. Let me track it from this side." I never heard from the guy. And he had been very friendly up to that point. And so I wasn't sure what to do. I'm thinking, well, okay, I've let him know. I'm going to wait another 2 weeks, and we'll see what happens. 2 more weeks went by. The lottery, I'm watching Bernard open all these lottery gifts. I'm still waiting for mine that I want to send to him. Still nothing. For almost 3 more weeks. At the end of the second week, I wrote him again. I said, "Dude, I haven't heard from you. The package is not here. It has been almost 8 weeks. You need to send me the tracking number now. I need to find a way to track this down. It is probably lost somewhere in the U.S. It is not unusual. I am not blaming you, but I need to find this because I have something in there I ordered for somebody else." Didn't hear anything again. So Monday, I filed a complaint with Discogs, and yesterday, his site was suspended. And I put in for and received, or will receive, a full refund from PayPal. Bernard, I'm sorry. I will find something for you, and it will be on the way within the next week or so. I had tried, I found something I thought you would really like, and I was going to throw in a couple of other things too, like I did last year with Happy Hippie. But I'm working on it, and so don't despair. You will be getting your J prize in the lottery from me. It may not arrive till mid-June or late June. I didn't get rods to it till almost July last year, which was terrible. Or whenever it was at least 2 months after the lottery was over. And I will get your package to you, and I will make sure that you will enjoy it, or at least I hope you will. In any case, I'm not going to give the person's name. I honestly don't think they made... I mean, my biggest complaint was that they wouldn't communicate with me. I don't blame them for what happened, because I've had the experience of... It took almost 6 weeks to get a box of liners from the sleeve company that's based in Winnipeg. I can't remember the one I'm always talking about. Who I love. Took 6 weeks to get stuff from Winnipeg a year and a half ago. And this, I mean, I've gotten packages from Europe in less time. I bought First Boy on the Moon from Sweden. It was here 10 days later. I ordered the Eurovision thing in March. They let me know it had been mailed 8 or 9 days ago, and it showed up yesterday from Germany. What the hell is the problem with a country that's right at our north border? I don't get it, and I don't blame the seller, but I didn't have any choice because he didn't communicate with me. I don't understand what the deal was, and I do not understand the problems with Canadian and U.S. shipments between the two countries. The postage is obscene. I mean, I spent $30, or not even $30, on vinyl and paid $30-some in postage. What the hell, Canada? Honestly. So, Bernard, I'm sorry, and you will have your package. You will have your prize, J, from me eventually. Please hang in there. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to get you what I tried to get you, I don't think, unless it by some miracle shows up, and I don't think that's going to happen. But I will get it for you, and I'm very much love doing this. I just get frustrated when this kind of thing happens, because I think you really would have loved it, and so now it's... But in any case, be aware, if you're ordering from Canada, or if you're in Canada and you're ordering from the U.S., be aware there is a big problem with the postal systems of the two countries right now. For some reason, they can't work and play nice together. And it has caused me all kinds of hell the last year and a half. And Vinyl Storage Solutions, I knew I'd come up with it, and it had to pop in eventually. Had trouble with their shipment it finally showed up 6 weeks later. At least I had a tracking number to keep track of it. So in any case, just a buyer beware. If you're in the U.S. ordering from Canada, or Canada ordering from the U.S., don't be surprised if your package goes poofta into the air with nowhere to find it. And that's the back page for this week. Before I mosey out of here for another week, I want to remind you that we have a lot of stuff going on. I have a lot of stuff going on at TKR Video Central. The Retro Pop Countdown, whatever the hell I'm calling it now, will premiere Sunday at 4. Monday, episode 4 of Finding Your Music Mojo will pop up on Two Hip Chicks website. And channel rather, on YouTube. So look up that TOO Hip Chicks, and you will find it there. I will be there for the premiere, as will Dawn, at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific on the Two Hip Chicks channel. and then I will have links to it, and I will repost it at some point, I'm sure. Um, and it'll be in my playlist on my main site also. Um, I have other shows throughout the week, influencers on Tuesdays. And the last 2 weeks, this week, I didn't get one up for either of the shows on Thursday or Friday, Off the Charts or Rock and Reviews. I apologize. I'm still working on my schedule. And Saturdays, of course, the Kirkham Report. And daily, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 p.m., 8 a.m. Pacific, TC's Daily Obscuria. All kinds of goofy songs and goofy facts about them. And I might be trying something new with that again, just an experiment. We'll see what happens. Not sure I'm going to do it yet, but if it does, it'll show up soon. And be sure to check out my full website, thekirkhamreport.com. You can see my commentary, all my Eurovision and American Song Contest coverage, topics of various sundry items on different music stuff, and of course, the entire TKR charts library in my awful handwriting. I am working on fixing that, and a few other things. And I hope that you'll check it out. Don't, it's there for people to enjoy it, and also there for your enjoyment and you to help contribute to is recordstorerewind.com. This is the new site I've started that will make a note, a library of all the record stores of the past, present, and future. We want your stories about record stores, you remember. If you got photos or anything else, that would be great. I'm going to be getting some more time to devote to it this week, now that Eurovision has finally slowed down and run out, and I will have some new stuff up on that site this week. And of course, it will also, I haven't got it linked yet, it'll be linked on the KirkhamReport.com and vice versa, so you can check things out over there. In any case, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Spread the word out there. I really appreciate it. The subscriber count is going up. Thank you to everybody out there who's helping. A lot of it, I think, is coming from Johnny over at Return to Cajun Roots Resellers. Thank you guys for checking me out and for subscribing. And don't forget to leave a comment. I love talking to you, and I love hearing from you, commenting on my shows, on my Obscurias, and everything else. You can just stop by and say hi if you want to. I love hearing from you. I'll have more in another week, and I'm sure I'll have more coming. I have another shipment coming. I have a few other pre-orders that are due in this week, and a lot of other stuff going on too. Hopefully all the shows will return. You know when to find them. There's a complete chart of the time frames in the bottom left-hand footer on the KirkhamReport.com. Until next time, for the Kirkham Report, I'm T.C. Kirkham, and I will see you soon. Ciao, baby.